Hey guys, welcome to the series of the Beyond the Power again. And in this video, we'll try to go and focus more onto the details of how we are going to construct our server and what does this component plays a role. So here the primary focus is going to be the BMC itself. Okay. And so BMC is a baseboard management controller, which kind of managing everything on your server. So you can see that if this is your server, which is your server, and within this server, basically, there will be sitting a component, and this component would be nothing but this BMC, and this act as a control to every component on your server. Every components, I literally mean everything because it takes care on CPU, GPU, your disk, your RAM, your firmwares, and so for all these devices or any other IO devices also will be there, then it would eventually will have the access to the BMC. And typically, the interface that used in majority of the vendors is the IPMI. So over this IPMI interface, we'll talk about more on this later. But for now, you imagine this one. So since we don't have a display to our server, and it would be placed inside one of the rack and everything is sitting inside one dark room. So it's not just a one rack server. You will find like, let's say there are 500 of it. And how are you going to manage all the 500 servers? It's not like some might be at the like a very bottom of the rack or some at the top. You can just assume that you have a wardrobe made of your clothes, and this is like just racks, like a wardrobe, which is just made of a server like racks. And so this all the server racks, which are actually attached to this particular rack design, and like when you imagine your server room, it could be any size. Like, okay, if you have some small scale enterprise and you may have just server count, maybe let's say 5 to 10 and having a single rack, or like if you have scale up, maybe 500 or 5,000, it could be like up to the scale of infrastructure. So in all this event, it's essentially not possible to actually go and attach a display to every device and work on it. So what happens? This use case itself generates some kind of a requirement. So as a server admin, you end up giving this kind of requirements. So let's say one thing you need is, let's say you need a OS on your 100 server. And all the OS should, let's say you decide that it needs Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. And if you want this image on your 100 servers, all you gotta do is you just need to run that, okay, one instruction command that I want this OS on this 100 devices. Or let's say you may decide that you want any other OS. So regardless of this, you can see the query that you are going to give is that you need this. This is your need, desire, and it's going to be applied on this n number of servers. And this is going to happen at a bulk rate. So you can imagine that you have your complete cloud management and you want this platform infrastructure things happening dynamically. And you don't want to get involved in entering the prompts or like following a step by step manually. No, you just want it to happen. Now, how this can be done? So you can say that one of the sophisticated word you can use this is platform provisioning. So you are provisioning the platform with all the supported requirements and features. So what happens that from the infrastructure side, you just need to connect all the hardwares as you require. Like, yeah, of course, if you are thinking that you need a 2 CPU server or you need a 8 CPU server, so this is your requirement that you need to fulfill. But aside from that, this requirement to like deployment related things, everything you can manage through BMC. So that is a power of a BMC. And you can see that, let's say you want your firmware. We'll talk about this firmware also in upcoming series and videos, but you can see that the firmware also you can flash. You can also flash the OS. Okay, pretty much great. What else you can do? Let's say you want to manage your disk. You can do that also. What else you want to do? You want to measure sensor data. Yes, you can do that as well. You can manage all the information like a temperature, clock rate. You can mention like health metrics, like for your disk, for your memory. You can see that, okay, whether your device is coming to the end of a lifespan and you need to replace, you will know much quicker and you will get the alerts. So that's why another system would be that alert. So there is a lot of things which is available already, which makes sure that the server is capable to serve all this data with this continuous information available to the system administrator or cloud service provider so that it can be managed for complete cluster over the one dashboard. So let's say you can just have one dashboard and that dashboard would have the details of every such devices into the cloud. Okay, so in the upcoming lecture, we'll get to more on the details, like why this BMC is kind of a more crucial node. We'll try to get into more details of this BMC. So for now, this is pretty much on this session. If you're liking this video, then please do like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.